Spell.
French would say moms.
Yes.
Good. Going to call this regular meeting to order, the Fairfax Recreation Park District Board of Directors. We will start with the Pledge of Allegiance. You can all stand with me.
Slow down.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, roll call, please.
Vice Chair Irwin.
Here.
Vice Chair Mounts.
Here.
Director Carhart.
Here.
Director O'Carroll.
Here.
Director Tamani. Here. All present.
Fabulous. Okay, Bond Oversight Committee annual update, please.
Format, stand right here. Hi, everybody. My name is Gary Jules. I'm a member of the Bond Measure J Oversight Committee. I'm here to give the annual report. Good evening, everyone. First of all, I'd like to say that there's been some appointment changes. I'd like to congratulate and say thank you to Amy Larson, who is our new chair of the Bond Oversight Committee. Thank you very much for that. And then also Justin Drake will be the vice chair. He graciously accepted that responsibility. I'm here to give the required by the Bond Oversight Committee bylaws the annual review to the board members. And I will say that we reviewed some expenditures this last time. Each committee member, there are 10. We reviewed two line items of the expenditure reports. We did not review the contracts this time. However, 2 years ago or 3 years ago, I know we reviewed all of the initial contracts. There may be a few more now as the development is progressing in the parks. There may be 2 or 3 more, maybe more, but we will review those, continue on an annual basis. The findings on the expenditures of the report were great. There were no discrepancies. Everything, all of the expenditures that were reviewed by the committee members were in line with the laws and the language of the bond oversight expenditures. And really, we're excited to get the project going. I think that's due to start the construction. It's been a long 2 years with the COVID and the permits and everything, and that's sometimes this is how things go. But it's all expected. It's all part of the process, and we're anxiously awaiting it, and we're all excited. So I know that the Parks and Rec staff have been working way above and beyond and dealing with a lot of the questions and concerns of the community, and they've done a phenomenal job. We've all stepped up, and it's really exciting to see the growth that they've all experienced. But I'd like to say thank you guys, and thanks for Bond Measure J for improving the Fair Oaks Parks and Rec area. It's wonderful.
Awesome. Thank you,
Amy, do you have a few words you'd like to say? We will be entering some certifications for the review of the audit. We'll be submitting those to Paula, and she can enter those into the records. And these are just requirements that we have to do on an annual basis. And we can provide copies of those if you'd like as well.
Any questions, directors?
No.
Awesome.
Keep doing the good work, guys, for doing really good work. Very
Amy, do you have any words you'd like to say?
Just a quick question for staff. Will that report go up on online as part of just
I will add
public
it,
record?
yeah.
Let's make sure it's that for the community to be able to see that. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks so much, sir.
Thank you.
Wonderful. We're going to move now to a time of public comment from the audience to discuss anything, as well as online, anything to discuss an item that is not on the agenda. So if anybody wishes to speak about something not as an agenda item specifically, you're welcome to do so now. Please fill out a comment request form, and you are limited to 3 minutes only. So I will first take the 2 public comments I have here, and then we will follow up with any additional here, and then follow up with any online as well. So I'll start with Mr. Chip Mosby. Please.
Hi, I live on the other side of Sunrise on Magnolia. That's all you're going to get from me is that stuff. I just have some prepared comments that shouldn't take too long. I'm recommending that the Fair Oaks Recreation and Park District Board research the creation of a production services manager whose primary responsibility will be connecting, engaging, and developing relationships with major motion picture studio operations and independent production company location services personnel throughout the West. The main job of the production services manager is to represent the district, the Fair Oaks community, its residents, and promote our area's unique shooting location opportunities. The responsibility of the position is to become familiar with the highly specialized production requirements of location shooting and streamlining the permit process. So basically, my background is in motion picture studio operations. I live here and also on the Embarcadero in San Francisco. We're talking about sending second, third, fourth, and fifth units into this area to shoot places like Buffalo Creek, the old Focal place on Magnolia, the 3.5 acres approximately, the old corral stables, and the Olive Grove, and other places like that. But there are many other opportunities here.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, sir. Excellent. Mr. Gary McDermott.
Give me 1 minute, no problem.
Okay.
I am ready to go.
What was the last fellow's name?
So Grace, go ahead and hand those out to the board members. Thank you. And we'll get started. So Grayson, thanks for volunteering to hand out our concept design. We updated that from last year. And he's giving you guys stickers as well. And the deal with the stickers are if you put them on your car and send a picture to me, I will give you a t-shirt. So thanks for having me, distinguished members of the board, park staff, and the public. Thank you for giving me a couple minutes of your time. My name is Garrett McDermott. I'm the Family Free Ride president. It's the nonprofit that's been dedicated to expanding and maintaining and developing the Fair Oaks Bike Park since 2019. So last year at May's board meeting, I gave the presentation on a concept design Family Free Ride had created to expand the bike park at a total of $1.5 million, including a perimeter trail, a large asphalt pump track, and a jump area. The expansion would have mostly been incorporated into the area that was planned for 2 softball fields. Park staff advised that no other alternatives could be considered for that area until a softball field that had been planned for that could be relocated. And then public outreach would have to be conducted in order to determine what should be done in that area. It is my understanding that the softball field relocation has been completed or will be shortly. And I would like to offer Family Free Ride's assistance to begin the public outreach for what can be done in that area. Family Free Ride has altered our 21 concept design that you'll see there to reflect recommendations that park staff made last year to forego any road crossings, and that was on the recommendation of Director Mounts. Thank you. We will include recommendations from Little League also to add additional parking in the new updated concept design. But please keep in mind this is just a concept design. It reflects the desire to add additional bike park features, and the details of what everything should look like can be determined through public outreach and a professional landscape designer. Family Free Ride has been demonstrating the usefulness of the Fair Oaks Bike Park with the community. Most recently this last weekend with our second annual Kids Bike Festival, which was a tremendous success. At the bike park, there is always a constant flow of diverse users from every age group, ethnicity, and socioeconomic background. Riding bikes is a sport that needs to have a practice field, and I hope the board will continue their support of what Family Free Ride has been doing to expand the bike park. I also want to remind the board how quickly the pump track was installed after your unanimous approval of it in April 2020. It opened in July of 2020. And believe we can do the same thing with the bike park expansion, which would benefit the community much more than an empty dirt lot.
Thank you.
Can I ask a question, Garrett?
Yes, sir.
Is it possible for you guys over time to develop a rough estimate of what this would cost, and also perhaps identify some possible grant source funding?
Of course, and we've looked at and applied for grants in the past, and are more than happy to look into that in the future. We've contacted industry representatives and gotten sponsorships, and we've been doing that for the last 2 years. And I think with a larger expansion, it won't be hard to get a lot more funding and grants.
Do you think there's corporate funding and stuff available out there?
Definitely. We just got Lowe's to donate a bunch of money, and I know that some of the other big corporations around here are interested, and their kids come to the bike park often. So Intel, some of the other ones are different.
I wish you luck. I wish I could go back to 1962 and ride around there myself. I'm a little too old.
Thank you, Director Carter.
Thanks.
Are there any other questions?
Thank you.
Appreciate your time.
Do we have any other members?
Good afternoon. I'm Beram Mohammed. I've been a resident of Fair Oaks for 33 years. Time goes by fast. I saw his picture a long time ago, as I recall him. But I coached soccer for kids for 9 years in Fair Oaks. I coached young adults for 5 years because I care about our children. I care about people. I say hi in 12 languages because I love people. And I also have 30 years of electronics engineering, electrical engineering, high voltage engineer, and environmental engineer. High voltage engineering is a very skillful job, and I've done it in many numerous hospitals. I've come to the aid of Fair Oaks Park, where their cables were being pulled out of the pull boxes, and I brought it to their attention. They complied to put big rocks on it. Then I noticed at the church and Fair Oaks Park, there were handholds where all the handhold covers were taken off. It took me 8 months of bringing it up to the attention of the staff at Fair Oaks, which are very nice people. My daughter years ago was one of the staff at Fair Oaks Park before she got her real job because she graduated at UC Davis. It took me 8 months to bring that to the attention of Sean or the group. They finally, I said, cat weld those, and they cat welded them. The church is still to adhere to that, but each occurrence of negligence is a criminal negligence and against California Electrical Code, and it's an imprisonment if you knowingly violate those electrical code laws. But more importantly, you don't want a child or a person to get electrocuted, and our homeless approaches that, and they're going to sue you for that. So they complied, and lately I brought it to the attention of Nick Davison about the roosters, that some people were coming there and they're picking up the roosters, wringing their necks and throwing it for their dogs to fetch. And at some point, there's a gentleman, Bill, he lives in his white truck. He saw one of them doing it with a black charcoal lab. He yelled at the guy came and said, "I'm going to kill you," while he was on 911, and the 911 said to put a restraining order on him. And one time I confronted that guy, his dog was chasing a rooster, beautiful one with a mohawk and yellow feathers. I stopped that rooster from getting killed. I think Carmen, one of the coordinators, ended up with the rooster later. The guy came towards me and wanted to beat me up. I know mixed martial arts, boxing, and wrestling. The only one that I use is run fu. I was a referee for high-level soccer games, and I was trained not to be confrontational. So I basically pulled out my pepper spray, held it towards him. I didn't use it. I said, "You better get out." I called 311. And years ago, I came across two young people, a lady and her husband or her boyfriend. The boyfriend was beat up pretty bad.
It is now 3 minutes.
The boyfriend was beat up pretty bad. He was on the ground. I came to their aid and made the guys leave. My point of the matter is, lately I'm saying, please put a camera. There was 2 shootings at the park. Please put a camera. You have 2 cameras on battery. It's important for the safety of others. And thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Wonderful. Is there any other members of the community in person that wishes to speak on a non-agenda item this evening? No, wonderful. Ian, is there anybody online who wishes to speak?
No.
Okay, I am going to close public comment on any non-agenda items. We're just going to jump right into approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second. I have a motion second. All those in favor? Aye. Ayes have it. Wonderful. Consent calendar. Do I have a motion to approve the consent calendar?
Move to approve.
So moved. Second. We have a motion and seconded. Is there any further discussion on the consent calendar? Okay. All those in favor? Aye. Ayes have it. Consent calendar is approved. We will move on to unfinished business. 8.1, discussion possible action regarding approval of arts entertainment manager job description.
Good evening, Board of Directors and community. My name is Katie Koss. I'm the Recreation Superintendent for the district. And I am coming back to the board on behalf of staff and Mike, who's on Zoom, our district administrator, as directed by the board last month to revise the originally proposed job description for the Arts and Entertainment Manager. As some of you may or may not know, we passed the bond for $26.9 million in 2018. We are doing about 20 million of that, 21.75, but 20 million for Measure J in the village of Fair Oaks. And one of the big needs we will have once that's finished being built is someone to create a program for that. And we need that process to start before the actual building is done being built. Create an arts and entertainment program, how we're gonna create the programs, reach out to the community, run the new facility, and so on and so forth. So staff created a job description. We came to the board last month. The board gave us some really good feedback on some things they'd like to see changed. Staff made those changes and met with the management and personnel committee on May 10th. And they also, which they can definitely speak for themselves, but they definitely support the revised changes of this job description. And I'm just going to briefly point out the main changes were that the board would like to have a more focus right from the start on how important this position is to boost arts and entertainment, business in Fair Oaks, activity in Fair Oaks, and really identify the key aspects of the job and the opportunity that's in front of someone that would take this job. So we separated into 4 categories based on feedback from the management and personnel committee, which are the job description starts with arts and entertainment focus, so general overall, community focus, because as you may know, and if you live in Fair Oaks, we are very community focused in everything we do, both in the village and all throughout Fair Oaks. Fiscally focused, which as we all know, if you work anywhere, bringing in revenue is a very important aspect of any position. And also just that district-wide look. So making sure they know that yes, the majority of your focus is in the village, but we also want arts and entertainment programming all over the district and all of our parks and facilities. So we identified some very specific bullets based on board feedback from April and also our personnel and management committee meeting. And those are the main focus changes with this job description that we're bringing back to the board tonight, hopefully to approve and move forward with recruitment for this position. We hope to hire for the position sometime after July 1st.
Great, thanks, Katie. Any board directors have any questions for staff on this?
Just an observation, the first speaker that we had was talking about production services manager / movies. I'm not sure whether or not it might fall under the bailiwick of our new arts and entertainment person, but certainly there's a linkage there if we want to move in that direction.
Definitely, that's a fantastic point, and it would absolutely make sense to fall under them, and eventually some of the proposed part-time positions we've discussed with you that would fit under that position.
So John and I were part of the committee that reviewed what the staff did after our last meeting. And there were a lot of new duties added in there, but they were kind of all mixed up. Some of them very important duties, and others standard duties that apply to all of our staff. So we had asked them to do 2 things. One, categorize them by type, and put the high priority ones up front, which is, managing a dynamic arts and entertainment program and bringing in events and activities and working with community partners. If you go down the line to other things, get down to the bottom district-wide, these are things that are, they should be in a duty statement, but they're not the key to what we want this job to do. So that was the primary change. And we were satisfied with it. We said, go to full board what you've done.
Okay, I'm going to open it up to public comment. If there's no other questions for staff from the board. Do we have any public comment on this agenda item, either in person or online? No? Okay, we'll just move to board discussion. Does anyone have any thoughts, opinions on this proposal?
I just wonder if, for the benefit of the audience who wasn't here last time, if Katie might reiterate, explain why this position is so important, why we've created a new, basically, superintendent level position. This will be a high level position that reports to Mike. So,
Sure.
Would you like to flesh that out a bit?
Yeah, I'd love to. Thank you. Yeah, very quickly.
Yeah.
So the importance of this position is a manager level position, and it's really we need a lead to develop the program from behind the scenes so that by the time we're ready to be out in front of the scenes, we've got a plan going forward, and also start doing, whether it's pop-up or small events, to really get the community activated and ready for what's coming when we do open. So that's all types of art, all types of entertainment, that's special events, big and small. There's nothing that we're limiting there, but we really need someone to come in and say, what would the staffing structure be? What would our contract process be? Ticketing process, running concessions, all of those things that you might not think of about on a daily basis, and none of us in recreation really have a background on. We're focused on being out in the parks with the people. So this is a new, different position for the district. And when we build the facilities, it's board direction. We really want to be very successful year 1, year 2, year 3, and really be pushing people to be in the facility, renting the facility, using the facility.
I have a question more for the directors that were on the committee, which I know is you, Ralph, and John. As far as the measure of performance, any reason why some of those duties, like in the arts and entertainment, weren't in there, such as, a certain amount of events or rentals or anything like that, or partnerships?
Well, frankly, we never even spoke to that. We spoke to, what some of the things that you had raised during the last public meeting, but those are things that can certainly come up when we're interviewing folks, for sure. This is basically a template, and we start free ranging after that.
Yeah, we had a list of supplemental questions to ask in the interviews. That's not included, I don't think, in the staff report here. But those were the kind of questions we asked the candidates to make sure that they have the experience and the connections to bring in events and keep a dynamic program going every week, every month. We don't trust if you build it, they will come. If you build it, you got to drag them in and make sure we perform for the community.
That's good. Yeah, I think that's totally fine. I think it will be really important during those job interviews that we really harp on the experience between events, rentals, collaborations, partnerships, because this is such a dynamic and unique position. We want to make sure we have the absolute right person for this position.
We have some amazing facilities. The Black Box Theater, which replaces the amphitheater stage, the renovated clubhouse, the new community rooms, the new stage in Plaza Park, and outdoor dining area and all. We spent a lot of money to make sure it was done acoustically right, that it's adequate size and configuration, so we can have all kinds of arts, performing, musical, and visual arts.
Chair Irwin, if I could add to very quickly, we did discuss our district administrator, Mike Aho, and I, and staff. That will also be a part of, once we do ask those questions, decide on a hire, make an offer, and onboard someone, we will create, and by we I really mean Mike, but a performance plan with that individual that will say for 6 months, first year, it'll have a complete performance plan that will be checked in usually quarterly during that first beginning time. So it will be a very, intense process, but really rewarding, for sure.
Wonderful. Well then, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the arts and entertainment manager job description.
Is there a second? Second. Moved and seconded. All those in favor? Aye. Motion passes. Great.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, we will go on to 9.1, discussion of possible action on matters related to fiscal year 22-23 recreation fee schedule proposals.
Right back up here. Kate Foss, Recreation Superintendent. I'm going to be very brief just because the board is very used to seeing this. As a public agency, there's a proposition out there that requires us to post our fees in advance of a new fiscal year. And so what we do is their recreation and facility fees. And so this is all of our programs, events, rental fees, everything. We put them into a spreadsheet, which you can see right here is very colorful and detailed. And just to briefly point out, when you look at it, and I printed in black and white, which is not helpful for me, but administrator approval is required if they're increased by 19% or less. Anything that's over 20%, which is in the green, is required board approval this evening. Board approval also for any new fees, which you'll see in yellow, and then board approval additionally for any red fees, which are eliminated fees. And so it's just about 4 or 5 pages of just fee after fee after fee. But and it's also publicly announced as a legal public hearing in the newspaper. It has to be done at least twice and 10 days in advance, which is done. We do that through American River Messenger and their various newspapers. And so it gives the community, if you disagree with certain fees or any or all of our fees, an opportunity to come and be heard. So I do believe we have to open public hearing technically. I could be wrong, but.
Okay, well then I will open the public hearing on potential to adopt resolution number 05-1822-02.
I'll second.
So moved and seconded, all those in favor? Aye. And we are in official public hearing for this resolution. Katie, thank you. Do any board of directors have any questions for staff?
Just one, I guess, flag football is no longer a thing.
No, flag football is the thing. If you see an eliminated fee, it just means that fee structure altogether got removed and we recreated a fee structure that fits the program better. But if you completely wipe it out, it needs to be read and removed. Same thing for, you'll see progressive dinner in there is read and removed, but we are by all means still having progressive dinners this summer. It's just we now bank through the chamber because, well, frankly, they can cut the restaurants a check in a day and it takes 4 to 6 weeks for us.
That's all I have. Thanks, Kate.
Okay, the parking lot rental for the farmer's market, what's the timeframe on that? Like, I don't see a.
Timeframe for when we get the money or?
No, how long do they get the rental for 2 days?
We only went into a 1-year contract with them just to assess the new event and see how it goes. So they're every single Tuesday for 1 year.
What time, like on a Tuesday?
Oh, 8 to 1. 8 to 1, every Tuesday, very, very front of Fair Oaks Park.
Okay.
It's the same farmer's market that is in Orfordville and Hamilton.
Director Manny, Director Carhart?
So I noticed that hardly any, I mean, the percentage of increases have been much less than inflation, so that's a really good thing. It's kind of notable the new things that we're doing, you know, the Easter crafts vendors and stuff, particularly I like the Gum Ranch events, the pumpkin event.
I knew you would.
Vendors and stuff at the Christmas tree lightings and stuff. And I noticed also rentals of pavilions. I was over at Citrus Heights Sunrise Park District looking at some of their pavilions and all. And I don't know if we knew it, but they actually have a sign where they show when that's rented, show the time and everything. Do we do that?
We do at our 2 barbecue areas at Fair Oaks Park and Millard Park. We do not have them at the new locations. That'll be a part of our wayfinding process and a sign assessment that we'll have that.
I know you'll be renting out the pavilions at Gum Ranch.
Definitely. Oh, they're almost fully booked for at least half, if not the full summer. That's the most rentals we get is for the Gum Ranch. I mean, probably 7 a day.
More and make a little more money.
And I'll just thank you for your comments, Director Card. I'll give credit really to where it's due, which is your district administrator, Mike Aho, is pushing staff to think outside the box, add new events spread around the district, and Sabrina really, but Nick and Chelsea and Mary really step up to the plate and do it. So I can't take credit. It's really all their hard work.
I did just have a couple, just wondering if it's for this year because of things that are closed, like silent movie ticket nights. Is that just because our facilities are going to be closed?
Correct. Yeah, and we also don't know the current state of the group that does that. So they're kind of on hiatus. And we don't know the future of that. We'll be looking for a new one to do the organ and everything. So there's no reason to have fees, and based on the prop language, you shouldn't have fees you're not really using. We did not delete all of the facility fees though, because, well, there's always a possibility if we don't start construction to rent them out. So we don't want to get.
No. The breakfast with the bunny too, is that because of Leader J?
We're just reevaluating. Some of the events we realize, as cute as they are, when we do cost recovery, we're realizing, well, the really large subsidy for some of these events and then the workload and where we want to put our efforts. So it's really more of that.
Got it. Okay. I will open it up now to public comment on this resolution. If anybody in person wishes to speak about this, we do so now. Okay, none None here. Ian, do we have any online? Nope. Okay, so I will close public comment, and then board directors, I will entertain a motion if there's nothing else.
I'll move to adopt the new fee schedule for 2022.
I will second. All those in favor?
Aye.
And the resolution is passed.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, Katie. Great. And then I will close the public hearing, Jennifer? Yes. Okay, so I'll make a motion to close public hearing.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
And the public hearing is closed. Thank you, everyone. Move on to our monthly Fair Oaks Youth Advisory Board reports. Rachel.
Hi everyone, I'm Rachel Lee, Chair of the Fair Oaks Youth Advisory Board. Nice to see everyone again. And for today's presentation, I'm joined by a special guest. Navia, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Navia. I'm going to be the incoming chair of Fair Oaks Youth Advisory Board for next year. I'm a current sophomore at Bella Vista High School, and I'm also the current vice chair of FOIAB. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you, Navia. And as we're wrapping up this year's FOIAB year, I just want to give a special thanks to the community. None of our events would be nearly as successful without the endless support and show out from the community, especially in a transitional year into the normal again. FOIAB's successful events included the annual Chicken Festival, the tree lighting event. We made hygiene bags and donated that to the Orangeville food banks. Members crafted handmade cards and handed it out at the senior care home. We volunteered at the family dance event, and as well as the Easter extravaganza event, where we sold 96 adult egg hunt tickets. In addition to our events, every member was also assigned to a service project. We want to give a big shout out to our Orangeville Food Bank Farm and Grange for working with FOIAB to continue our efforts to help the community. And Navia, do you want to go with the hour?
So FOIAB's total volunteer hours this year was 271 hours. And we have an upcoming event that is not technically part of the FOIAB year, but we do have a FOIAB member signed up to volunteer, and it's the Mississippi Bar Trail Run.
Yes, and then that would basically conclude our whole successful 2021-2022 term. It has been an honor these last 2 years as a chair, being able to see individuals in FOIAB grow as well as the community. This whole experience of 5 years in FOIAB has genuinely helped me grow a voice and confidence, and I'm ready to strive as a leader in any community wherever I go, and hopefully for everyone in FOIAB is too. Thank you, Board of Directors and Mary and Chelsea, for your continuous support in FOIAB in the parks. I'll miss it greatly. And yeah, Navia will be taking over my position next year. Navia?
Rachel,
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry.
I just wanted to say, Rachel, thank you so much for your service to our community and to FOIAB the past 2 years. Crazy time to be taking over. Where are you? Are you headed off to college next year?
Yeah, I'm heading off to UCLA to study design and media art.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you.
Very, very thankful.
Thank you guys so much.
Navi, I'm so sorry. Did you want to say something?
Yeah, I was just going to finish off by saying I'm so excited to continue my 5th year in FOIAB as the chair and continue serving my community, and also some possible plans that I'm looking into for next year is some fundraising ideas for FOIAB, as well as just continuing with our service groups and getting back out there after COVID years.
Great.
And that's all. Thank you so much.
What school are you from right now, Nadia?
Bella Vista High School.
Okay, good.
Great.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you so much.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Then we'll move on to point 2, discussion of possible action regarding appeal by Fair Oaks Partners statement. If staff would like to take that away.
Oh, well, thank you. This is never a good thing that we have to do or feel that we have to do. It's never a great position for us to be involved in. But it is something that is part of the job, and so what I want to portray first of all is that this is an incredibly hard thing to do, and I have a lot of emotion behind this. So that is hopefully that's evident. But you heard some comments tonight from Bahram in regards to some of the good things he does, and he does good things. He does marvelous things. What I'm here today to talk about, though, is actually things that happen in the garden and to gardeners and to garden coordinators. the 5 volunteer coordinators voted early this month, to revoke or terminate Bahram's plot from the garden, from the Fair Oaks Garden. And it was based on Article 28 of the Garden Coordinators Guidelines. And I'll read Article 28. The use of belligerent, insulting, or threatening language will not be tolerated and is grounds for immediate dismissal from the garden and loss of your plot. And then Article 21, which isn't really based on it, but it gives you some insight of what how this all occurs. It goes on to say, Article 21, warning, notices are sent to gardeners for their non-compliance with necessary guidelines. The 3-strike rule states that no gardener can receive more than 2 warning notices and still be able to keep his or her plot. If a gardener is out of compliance and receives a 3rd warning, they will automatically lose their plot. So the gardeners voted 5-0 to terminate his plot. There were some issues, some of the main issues with that. Now, I had sent all of you as board members a presentation that has these items listed in detail. I'm not going to go over each one. I'm going to give you the summary and the total of those because it'll take too long to go over them all. And I want to give respect and time to Bahram to state his case as well. So the issues are not respecting a person when they do not want to have a conversation with you. Second issue, negative and insulting comments about garden coordinators. And the third issue, pattern of aggressively and unrelenting expression of political and religious views without boundaries, even when the other party says they do not want to talk about the topic. And another issue, when someone asks to be left alone, he continues to push his views on health, home security, pedophilias, politics, religion, and others. And then finally, calling people names, gardeners and garden coordinators, and names that I have heard are idiot, stupid, communist, bipolar, and cheap. This kind of behavior started back in September 2012 when there was complaints about the similar behavior. And it was brought up to the Park District with Nick Davidson and Maureen, the administrator before me. And the summary of that was that it was determined that Bahram was using threatening language towards a coordinator. And anytime now that he needed to speak to a coordinator or a coordinator needed to speak to him, they would have to have 2 coordinators present to be able to converse with him. Then also another term was that he was not to talk to Carmen, one of the garden coordinators, for 2 years. And he received a warning notice of the 2 strikes. So this was not a 3rd strike, this was the 2 strikes. Also before May of 2022, there were 3 other documented interventions by the garden coordinators and or the gardeners complaining about similar behaviors, bad-mouthing coordinators, providing unsolicited advice, even when the recipient tells Bahram that they do not want to talk to him. This current issue started May 4th, 2022. And in my notes that I gave you, I list 17 occurrences of similar and repetitive behavior toward gardeners, garden coordinators, and myself. In one conversation with me, he called the coordinator an idiot, stupid, communist, bipolar, and cheap. I am recommending that the board support my decision to support the garden coordinator's decision that Bahram is in violation of guideline 28 and his gardening privileges at the Fair Oaks Community Garden be revoked, and that he has until June 1st to remove all personal materials and plants that are used by him or in his plot.
Thanks, Mike. Does anybody have any questions for Mike before Mr.
I have a question for Mike, and that is, in regards to the community garden rules, does the community garden develop those all on their own? Do we review those and do we approve those, or is that their discretion?
No, we do review them and approve them. And this latest iteration was just recent. It might have been this January. If not, it was just last year. But we do review them and then say, yeah, those are fine. So generally, there's not many changes. And if there are major changes, we have sat down and talked about it. But in this last iteration, there was no major changes.
So is it our staff that reviews what their rules and regulations are, or do you review them, or do we as a board review them?
Yeah, Nick Davidson will start reviewing them because he's our liaison between our partners, our community partners. Once he reviews them, and if he has no comments or any concerns, or if he even does have a concern, then it bumps up to me, I review them, and then it's off and running. So no, the board has not reviewed those in the past.
But Mike, as I recall, they're basically, it's not an onerous list of requirements that you need to meet to be able to maintain their plot. Be kind to other people, be respectful, so on and so forth. And I've been on the board now for 16 years. There's only been one other occasion when I've been involved in this process. So it doesn't happen on a regular basis.
Right.
Okay. Anything else? No? Okay, Mike, thank you. Then I'm going to allow Mr. Ghulam Mohammadi, please. To,
Janet would like to speak after.
Of course.
First of all, thank you for the opportunity. Originally, we were going to meet with Mike and 2 other people, and I took Friday off. And he emailed me at work to say that's not going to happen. And then he said, how about Monday? I took Monday off. I have a lot of vacation at work. I've been a high voltage engineer, doing a lot of hospitals and stuff. Donating my time for the state of California. So I accumulated, I have the highest vacation in my whole department, so I can take some time off. And then he says he wants to meet with the board. Unfortunately, one of the first we got a email from in fact, Janet Kemper, which is my living girlfriend for many, many years, and she and I have the garden. She received a letter like May 2nd indicating that we have a pre-termination notice and we have to behave, and it was based on a tape recording of a gentleman, Spanish young gentleman that is a gardener. And one day he showed up to the garden. I didn't recognize him. He's got a mustache like going like this now. He's like in his 20s. He parked his bicycle outside the park. I said, hey, watch out. There's a lot of theft. And there are a lot of thefts around my neighborhood. Even Fair Oaks Park District has had 2 catalytic converters stolen from them. As I finished, walked out, I noticed it was Daniel. He was just pinching off some of the herbs for his house. He walked out. I said, yeah, there's a lot of theft and stuff. Just be careful. The borders, there's a lot of crossing. And that was it. He just blew up. And I said, well, just calm down, educate yourself, be like your in-laws. And a previous conversation I had with his father-in-law, his father-in-law showed some kind of resentment towards Daniel going around videotaping stuff. He videotaped a catalytic converter at his work being stolen. He pissed off the gentleman. The gentleman, his catalytic converter got stolen. He criticized him. He said, why didn't you tell me? Now I'm out of the catalytic converter. So he has a habit of doing that. So I said, you know what, Daniel, he was getting all agitated. His wife had told Janet and I did not diagnose him, Mike, with the way you write things in this letter, twisting it. His wife told Janet and I that even though Daniel is young, he has high blood pressure. I said, okay, juicing will help. I'll give you a juicer. I have extra Jack LaLanne juicer. I was diagnosed with prostate cancer. I was a cyclist. I cycled quite a bit. I did a lot of bad diet, and I reversed it myself, so I learned a lot. And I did not find the juicer. I had no idea what his political affiliation was. I didn't care. He was a young man with 2 little kids, which we tried to help, which we always do. We're older, we mature. And that was the end of it. We didn't see him a lot until that day that I saw him with the bicycle. And I said, you know what? He was really agitated. And I said, Daniel, just relax. I shook his hand. He's got a little small hand. I'm just trying to describe that. I did shake his hand. Not much calluses on it. I said, just relax. And he says, I just tape recorded you. I said, you did what? Without my permission? He turned that tape recorder to Carmen, which was gladly to receive that and come after me. And I met Mike Aho on Monday as his will in his office. And he gave me this, which is, I've dealt with a lot of contractors throughout my 30 years. I've never seen dishonesty this bad. I have never seen that in my whole entire career. And I'm known to be honest. I'm from the mountains. I'm from 6,070 feet. I work on a farm. I was taught to be honest, help people. My great-grandfather lived to be 121. for that reputation. He's best friends with the king of Iran, dad. He was reputed to be kind and courteous to others. I am too. I do not lie. Janet Kemper could attest for that. These are a lie, Mike. You cannot lie. I would call you a sir, but I can't. I cannot do that. I cannot shake your hand anymore. So I told him, please turn over these 2 documents. The first document was stamped and dated by Ian Roberts on May 6th at 2:20 p.m. He was neglecting to provide this to you. I said, no, you have to provide this. I sent him a following email, and I provided this document as well, which is rated by Paula. She's a sweet lady. Every time I talk to her, she's very nice. All your staff at the park too, as well. They're very nice, very courteous. And I turned this to Paula, and she stamped it in on May 13, 2022 at 3:02 p.m. The issue with Garden started many years ago when at the time, Peggy, a pit bull black lab mix, came off leash when we were walking at the park behind Carmen, which is one of the coordinators' house. The dog almost attacked her rooster, which was off leash. It's illegal to have a rooster off leash and roaming. And the rooster did not get attacked. And we were joining to the garden. From then on, she started just watching us, documenting us, and this shows it right here, going against our First Amendment constitutional rights. This is freedom of speech violations. I sent an email to Mike on May 13th at 5:06 p.m. I need to pick up a document on Monday produced by Fair Oaks Community Garden and was distributed to the gardeners, disallowing to engage in any conversation inside and outside of the garden other than just gardening. This is unbelievable. This is the United States. We just stood up and pledged the United States flag that we're protecting. And this is unbelievable that you are receiving emails outside of the garden against me as a gardener. This is a peaceful environment. We're supposed to be gardening and having fun, not be documented. She tried hard to get rid of us. She did 3 strikes, not 2. She did 3 strikes. One was overwatering, which later was, Farmer Bob owned those places that we garden. He put large pipes under it, and from those pipes, water went down. I didn't overwater. And currently, there's a big old oak tree that almost, well, one of the staff was 15 feet away from that oak tree, and it fell. And I even told Carmen, I told her mom, avoid that area. I called Nick Davidson office. I emailed Christy. It's in here. I said, please do something about that tree. The foot of that tree, oak tree, is wet, and oak trees do not like to be wet. That's dangerous. So I care a lot. And she gave me a strike for that. She gave me another strike for staying late. She has been after us for all this time. In spite of all that, what I've been doing last summer, you know what I did? I brought grapes to her. I went to the farmers. They had extra bags of grapes. I have a pickup. I brought those grapes, fed the roosters, which are all dead, at Fair Oaks Park and Fair Oaks downtown. And I asked her mom, can you ask your daughter Carmen, does she want these grapes? Throughout the whole summer, every Saturday, I bought 3 bags of grapes so she could feed the chickens and sell the eggs. The Spanish ladies with 2 daughters, they said, can we have some of the chickens? I said, they're selling the eggs. Well, can we have some of the eggs instead? I asked her, she just looked at me like, okay, I just didn't say nothing. So I've been nothing but kind, courteous to all. And then here I'm tape recorded, and by the virtue of this tape recording by this individual, now you're trying to terminate me. And also, I want to make sure you guys have received these 2 documents. I took a lengthy time to review it, and I cannot believe this thing. This is bogus. This is against my First Amendment, our First Amendment constitutional rights. This is against, is a violation of freedom of speech. But I'm going to go to one thing and end this. I could just go on and on and on, and I don't want to take the time of these wonderful people sitting here. So nothing had happened till recently. 2 years ago, or about 2 years ago, a new gardener showed up. He walked by my garden. I said, oh, welcome to the garden. He says, I said, where'd you come from? This is exact, I don't lie, I have a very good memory. I was tested by many attorneys through work because they know I was a cyclist and I eat well. I said, where'd you come from? He says, Portland, Oregon. We and Janet and I have been to a lot of peaceful protests permitted. So we like the American flag, we like the freedom that we have, we don't want to lose it. So he said we came from Portland, Oregon. I said, oh, thank God, that place is a mess with all the riots and burning and stuff. He unsolicited offered, he said he's part of Antifa. I said, did you also march with Black Lives Matter movement? He said, yeah. I said, what do you think about Trump and the Republican? No, we don't like him. He says, we work with the Democrats, and I'm a communist, and I hate the police. Right there. For 30 years, I've been supporting law enforcement, DOJ, CHP, CDCR, CAL FIRE. I have law enforcement in my family. I have military in my family. She has both. So we respect. When somebody says, I hate the police, I'm an Antifa, Antifa's definition is anti-fascist. However, they dress up Zorro and they go beat up old ladies, old men, set buildings on fire. They barricaded one building, police proceeding, and they were going to burn the police. Right there and then, I said, you know what? I said something. I said, you know, I was a communist like you, but I was 17. I matured up. I knew what to say to a communist for him to turn around and walk away. I said, do you like Alexander Cortez? He said, yeah. I said, no, the only good thing about Alexander Cortez is something I cannot repeat, and it's not what he put down in here. That's the length of the conversation. He turned around and walked away. The next day I saw him next to Roger as I was exiting the gates. He said, well, you know what, we can talk about birds and the bees in the garden. I said, you don't understand. I have police in my family. There's police that put their lives in danger for us. I cannot be friends with you. I cannot talk to you. Just stay away from me, and we could be fine. For over almost 2 years, over a year and a half, there has not been any conflict until this tape recording came out. And they wanted me to just walk on eggshell and forget the fact that I was tape recorded. I couldn't. So I produced this document and gave it to you guys, revealing what Carmen has done. Years ago, Carmen used an unsound judgment. He became friends with one of the gardeners. His name was Rick. He had a glass eye, a contractor. He was invited to her house to do garden work, and the relationship went sour, and he lost his garden. And because of that relationship, Rick lost his garden spot. Also, he lost his house. He was on drugs.
So we're going to wrap this up.
I'm wrapping it up.
Saying I need you to one final sentence. Everything you've said, just so you know, is in the documents you've given us. We're very well aware. So please let us know the last thing you'd like to say to us before we may have any questions for you.
So Carmen used an unsound decision by engaging in a relationship with Rick, not a personal, but just it's a violation of conduct of somebody being a coordinator and then having another person coming to your house receiving favors. He came back and stole a $600 rototiller from our community garden. He broke the locks. As I stated earlier, I'm a caring individual, and I'm surprised he said that too. I do a lot of things more than that. What I told you about the electrocutions and coming in help of two people getting beat up by a baseball bat even. I grabbed Carmen's dog. A shadow was attacking a homeless guy. I didn't know the dog was going to bite me. I took it to Carmen's house. This is nothing. What I'm telling you, it has nothing to do with a piece of land. There is an Antifa, which is the main coordinator now to Fair Oaks. The lies that he put in here, I knew Antifa was bad. This is disgusting. What Mike put in here, I will not ever shake his hand.
Okay, thank you.
And Janet has a few words.
Yes, so we're going to.
And all this is based on hearsay. Okay. None of this is permissible in the court of law. Thank you.
So, does anybody have any questions for?
Oh, you want me to stand there? I apologize.
Do you have any questions?
No. Well, I want to disclose something because I didn't know this gentleman's name, but I talked to him many times in the garden, and his garden plot was a couple away from mine. All I can say is you're quite emotional about this, and I can understand. I've never seen you behave that way, so it's kind of surprising to me. I will probably recuse myself from this because I'm, I wouldn't call us friends, but we're acquaintances, and I've had my own experiences with the garden. I got summarily booted out a couple months ago, Sherry and I. We were sharing a garden plot with an 85-year-old man who was Bob Brawley, and Carmen asked me and my wife Sherry, we were on the waiting list for a plot. She asked us if we would share the plot with Bob. Bob has subsequently gotten too senile and he couldn't take care of his part, so they told us that that was his plot. We no longer have any claim to it, so if we wanted to keep a garden, we'd have to reapply. And it's a lot of work to run one of these gardens, so we said goodbye.
George Hart, so when did you leave the garden?
Just a couple months ago, we're gardening at home, but I've been there for about 2 years or so, sharing the plot.
And thanks to his wife, I have all these sage and herbs. They gave it to me for the.
Okay, well
Thank
then,
you.
with that, I'm going to open up to public comment. I know we have one person who wishes to speak. If there's anybody else who wishes to speak, please queue up online and in person. Ma'am, please. And please know that it will be 3 minutes, so. Here we go.
Hello, my name is Janet Cooper, and I've known Barham for like over 20 years. And I know that a lot of those things that are read in those papers that he wrote are not true. And I see Barham as a much different person than what was mentioned in those papers. The garden, what I've seen is a lot of the bylaws and things, they're not enforced by people who are running the garden. They themselves, some of them have weeds in their garden. They've had them there for a year before. And they've let their dogs inside the garden, and it's not enforced. So it's kind of like they pick and choose who they want to kick out and who they want to keep and who they want to allow their dogs behind the gates, who they want to allow to have weeds in their garden. So it's not a fair garden. And I think it needs to be looked into, why it's not, and what is the agenda for running this garden to where certain people are kicked out, certain people are allowed to stay. And I know some of the things that were said, you know, about Barham being aggressive and overbearing and telling people, you know, it's just, and then there was a part where he said that he forces his religion on people. Well, Barham doesn't even have a religion, so a lot of these things are lies.
I'm Christian now, sorry.
So, I don't know, and then for us to have to garden with somebody taping us, I mean, is this democracy or what is this? Is this from another country that we're dealing with? We can't say what we feel outside of the garden, or it seems like freedom of religion, or not religion, but freedom of speech is like we don't have it outside the garden, we don't have it inside the garden. So, I don't know, you might want to look at that.
Thank you.
Sure, one comment. Carmen, when the interaction with my dog and her rooster, I've never seen a woman use so much profanity. And she continues to use those, and she was going to say that. She uses F word a lot. That's against the guideline 28.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate it. Sir,
Thank you so much.
If there's anybody else that is in audience, online, or in person that wishes to speak on this item.
No, but we do have somebody on the phone, so if the person on the phone wants to speak, please press *6 to unmute yourself. If not, no problem.
Nope.
No.
Okay, well then, I'm gonna close public comment on that. Any discussion amongst directors?
Well, it's unfortunate that we didn't have the opportunity to run this through the committee like, we've had in the past, and had the benefit of talking directly with the committee coordinators and staff and so on and so forth. And I'm not sure where this is gonna go, but what I would like to do is I would like to postpone any kind of decision so that we can have that kind of a conversation, and we have the benefit of looking at the bylaws and everything else. I'm not sure how anybody else feels. I know that there have been some serious allegations made against our gardener, and
Right.
maybe there's some merit to that, but it's just kind of the way I feel.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I want to hear from staff members, I want to hear from the people that are accusing him. I don't know why they're not here.
Well, they submitted everything. I don't know if you read it. I mean, they
No, I-
might correct. I mean, that was, all the stuff that was in there was from all of the people that the directors are asking.
Yeah.
Or no?
Yes, they are. And I do have the actual emails or records of those or voicemails of that information that is in the handout that I gave you, the summary or the presentation handout. So those are there.
Let's consider hearsay.
Any other thoughts?
To just clarify, John, who do you want to speak with? Or what is your thought in terms of proceeding if we were to not make a decision
So
today?
Jennifer, what is the committee that it goes to?
Community resources development.
Community Resources Committee.
Oh, okay.
And so that's the way it was handled in the past, and it's never comfortable. It's hard on the accused, and it's hard on the judges. So if the board doesn't feel like the majority of the board doesn't feel like it's necessary to go back through that process, I'll support whatever position that the board wants to take.
I'm not going to vote on this, but I do think this is, in my mind, a due process issue, and knowing all the personalities involved, I think the committee review would be a better venue.
So if it were to go to the committee, and the committee were to vote, let's say, in favor of, or in agreement with staff, then would we then say, I mean, it would then come back here, potentially. It would then potentially be appealed by the gardener, so we would be doing this all over again. So my only, well, honestly, quite a large hesitation is that I feel like we've been provided with enough input to make a decision, and I don't think that there's anything to say, Mike, correct, that all of the people, I mean, because it's not a full trial here, and I don't think that all of the people that are involved, would have to come to our resources meeting, or would necessarily want to. I mean, I so far the last one.
I'm not trying to impugn Mike at all.
No.
Mike is communicating to us what he has received. All I'm saying is that there's a step that was missing.
I just don't think we're going to get anything additional in that step, and I think that it will get appealed again, and it'll come right back here.
The problem I have is we don't have any opportunity to ask any questions of the people that are accusing the gentleman of this. And I know when I feel like I'm unjustly treated, I can get emotional and not make my best case for myself. But I would like to, in a situation like this, I'd like to see if there's any resolution possible, and maybe there isn't. Maybe they should, just agree to not to participate if you're not wanted in a club league, but I'd like to at least be able to ask some questions. And again, I would be very loath to override Mike, because I think what he was asked to do is basically support the decision makers, which is the team of community garden managers. And I've dealt with them all myself. I've been told by one that I was dead to her. So I know that people get emotional, you know, but I think we should have the opportunity to ask them a little more.
Well,
Due
one of
process.
my things is, 'cause I know you, Ralph, as a director, and having you say that you've never seen any kind of action that is being described here on paper, just gives me a little bit of hesitation to just go off all these words that are on paper without a little bit more exploration.
Well, I was ready to uphold Mike, but when I came in, I realized I knew this gentleman, and this, it surprised me that this was the person having all the problems. So anyway.
Well, I mean, when I was last involved with this, there was the ability to put that particular person on probation. And I don't know if that's still a choice in this matter. Mike?
What's being appealed right now is my decision based on the garden coordinators stuff. There was a decision, a 5-0 vote from 5 garden coordinators, and the information that I received and continued to receive throughout this time, I held up the garden coordinators' decision. Is there a middle ground? I don't know. With a 5-0 vote and continuing behavior throughout this process, I don't know. There's a lot of healing.
We presented that we could
Sir, thank you.
coexist.
Well, I
I
think there's a.
Postponing until we can have the committee at least look at that and talk to Mike.
Well,
and see.
then you need to unrecuse yourself.
Oh,
Can I add just something on a committee? If you opt to do that, I would need some guidance in terms of how that would occur. If you want garden coordinators, if you want gardeners, do we bring in, do people bring in a bunch of folk, and then we do a Q&A and more fact finding, if you will, throughout that process?
Well, that's the question for, I suppose, the subcommittee. I mean, I don't need it, but I'm happy to entertain what my fellow director might wish. I don't think the way that we put this in place is a trial. I don't think it's intended to be a trial. I don't think it needs to be a trial. I believe the documents that were given. I don't see any reason why all these people, all these documentations starting in 2012, why we wouldn't be considering that or feeling that we can't trust that documentation. And also, I think if Ralph does vote in favor of it going back, then I do believe he would need to vote. I mean, I don't see how he could vote for that, but then not vote if it were to come back to the board. So that's my personal feeling, if Director Park were to recuse himself.
So,
or not recuse himself.
Mike, in your view, if we don't take the action that you're recommending, we're going to lose other gardeners or other coordinators?
I can't answer that. I have not had that conversation with them.
Because that was an issue last time.
I don't know. I know. I don't. Yeah, I can't answer.
Why would people? I mean, 5-0. And it seemed like a lot of the people gave responses. Why would they vote 5-0? Just because they just didn't like it. I mean, how many times has this come to us?
3 days before that, it wasn't.
Sir, thank you. This is for discussion.
It wasn't a 5-0. 3 days before that,
So
it was working.
that's just my question on that.
Melinda?
I like consistency, so if the way this has been dealt with in the past is that it goes through a committee, I like that. However, I also, I have to say that I agree with Chair Irwin in that in reading materials, I read every page that was provided by everyone, and I was very disheartened by the situation. And I don't know if it will probably be a he said, she said situation, even if we do interview people in person. So I don't know if the narrative will change. So
Well, I'm prepared to support when somebody makes the motion, and I'll support the motion. If you all think it's fruitless to go back and do a rehash, then I'll move with you.
Then
I would make the motion to uphold Director Aho's recommendation for termination. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. On to 10.3, discussion possible action on property line adjustment for adjacent neighbors at Gum Ranch Park.
Could I ask my vote be abstention, or is that?
Can we put that then?
I
as
can
part of
recuse.
Recuse, abstain, yeah.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, so please, 10.3.
Yeah, thank you. This actually came up in public comment during your March meeting, and it was delayed because you all wanted everybody there, and Director Tamani was off on, she was going to miss the April meeting. But now it's on the May meeting here. And what this is it is in Gum Ranch Park. Let me pull this up here. And what I'm asking for is to have the authority to proceed with executing a lot line adjustment at Gum Ranch Park to deed up to 20 feet of adjacent Park District property to property owners at 8410 Manana Way, 8420 Manana Way, and 8430 Manana Way. And those adjacent property owners that we would deed that property to will pay all cost of the lot line adjustment except for the Park District staff cost. A little background on this. In 2018, the board accepted a request by Elliott Homes to basically get a turnkey park, and that's Gum Ranch Park, in lieu of impact fees. So they built the park with our input, and it was actually supposed to be a 4.9 acre park. And throughout this process, they had other lands that they weren't going to be able to develop and that were adjacent to the park land, the 4.9 acres, including what we're calling the creek parcel, which was 3.86 acres, and a detention basin, which is over 1 acre. So it ended up being, the park ended up being almost 10 acres of actually park land. Now the creek property, we did not design it to be an active recreation area, nor was it ever proposed to do that. It was designed to be a passive recreation area, a natural area, something that people would enjoy nature in, and not have things like swings and ball fields and soccer fields and things like that in, but just really a buffer for the natural environment. That creek property does parallel the creek, and I want to show that. I'm going to actually share my screen, I believe. If I can get there. Ian, do I have a screen share?
Yeah, I can do it.
Yeah, thank you. Okay. And you could be seen. So here's attachment A on this, and this is the creek. This is the 4.9 acres right here in the green, and this is the creek property right here, and here's the detention basin at 1 acre. The creek runs basically parallel to the green line up above the creek parcel. And so the creek parcel is on the other side of the creek. Currently, we have no active way to get over there. There's no bridge or anything like that to get over there. You can step across the creek when it's dry, and it's dry probably 90% of the time. So people can get there, but there's no official access point for that. Okay. The property owners, and I'll pull that up here. On my screen. Here's the no, that's not the right one. That's the wrong attachment. The right one. Here's the 3 properties right here. The center one, then there's 2 properties on either side of it. The center one's in yellow, and the the park property is just to the top of your screen there of what you're seeing. And so that is the parcel there. It's in a natural area. These houses here were built in the 70s, 3 houses, and their lot line, you can see the blue line. It's a rough, this is from the Sacramento County Assessor's Office. It's a rough property line, but you can see it's really close to their backyards. And for years, they had this open space behind their house. And now with the park going there, there's activity occurring. And people are coming along in that property, not in droves, but they are coming in there. And so there's a security and also privacy issue now with these 3 properties. And so these 3 property owners did come over to the board meeting in March, as I mentioned, and requested that the board put this on the agenda for consideration for the 20-foot or a 20-foot deeding of property, so they can build that fence and increase their security for their homes. I got it all here. So the other piece that we're hoping to be able to create and develop is this. This yellow line right here that goes along is the current trail in the park. Right? That's already there. This red one is one that staff has looked at and said, boy, we could make an interconnected loop within this park, within this 10-acre park. This would be a great loop for people walking their dogs. We still would not activate this creek area over here, but what we would do is create a pathway. There's 2 challenges with this pathway. One is just up here where it kind of points up toward the county's detention basin. We have to actually cross the outflow for that detention basin. We have to get permission from the county and the Department of Water Quality to be able to do that. So that's a challenge. The other is, and this is the bigger challenge, we have to cross the creek. We can't just let people cross it as a dried creek bed if we develop a trail. So we actually have to put a bridge in, which requires Corps of Engineer approval, Department of Water Quality, all those types of approvals, plus the cost of the bridge. So that bridge would occur somewhere down here. We don't have an exact location where that could then loop into the overall park. That would put additional folks over on this natural area. Now, how far out are we from doing this trail? Funding and everything like that's going to dictate it. The ability to get that bridge in, to get the permission to do the crossing of the outflow, all of that would have to occur prior to this trail being developed. So it's a long process, but it is one that staff is willing to begin the investigating process of to see if we can do it. So we could potentially put more folks over in that area, but it still would not be an active recreation area. The actual trail itself would follow the red trail here, would stay as close to the creek as possible, except for where it jumps out here to cross the outflow. And then it would move back toward the creek here. It can't get right next to the creek because obviously it'll get washed out when the creek runs, so we stay a little ways away from it. And we stay as far away as possible from the current residents, because having a trail right by your house isn't something that anybody really is excited about, nor is it really something that a walker wants. They want it more of a natural area. So that's it. I am recommending that we would deed up to 20 feet and let kind of staff determine that based on some oak trees and stuff that are out there and exactly what the property owners need and want out of this. And again, the full cost would be borne by the property owners.
So then, Mike, you're going to come back with another report?
Not another report. If you give me authority here, just like we did with Strang Park, I will then go forward with all the documentation necessary to do that. I just have to follow the guidelines that you give me, again, what we're recommending, that we have no district funds expended and that we give no more than 20.
Okay. Any other questions for staff? Mike, I have a question. What are we potentially looking at for staff time monetarily?
That's a good question. Let me get this stop screen. I guess I can't answer that. It really, well, we got to hire a surveyor. We got to make sure the surveyor does most of the documentation. Probably maybe 30 hours, maybe that might be high. And we got to meet out there with the property owners and talk about how far and stuff like that before we get the surveyor. But that's just good neighborhood stuff. I don't, those things that you look at and go, we should be doing those anyway, talking to the neighbors about how we can better, service them around the park and how we can impact them or not impact them. So that kind of stuff, it's just part of the job. I don't look at it as actually part of this project.
Hey, Mike.
So, probably 2020. Yeah.
If I remember correctly, the last time this came up, there was a woman here that was sort of going over, and she lived on Manana, and she said that she was gonna get us an assessment of what that land is worth, the 20 feet.
Yeah.
Because there's obviously value, especially if there's oak trees and there's things like that, that's gonna be adding to their property that, I mean, it seems to me there's gonna be a value, and they're gonna come back to us with a fair assessment of what that 20 feet addition to that property line would be worth.
Yeah.
And that doesn't sound like it's part of this now.
No, and you know, I was talking about this earlier today a little bit and thinking about it, and you know, if the appraised value is higher than the actual hard cost of doing this, it may be something that we don't want to give away park land. It may be something that the homeowners would pay maybe a little bit more, and maybe the actual work would be more than the appraised value. But you know, that's a hard cost to us, so we want to make certain that hard cost is covered. So it is possible to look at it from an appraised value and say, if the appraised value is higher than the hard cost, then that would be the cost that homeowners.
I have a handout that Mrs. Smith gave us when she made the 3-minute presentation. And in that, it shows the property. And it also says the square footage that they're looking at for the 20 foot. And they used the assessment of the 3 houses that want to purchase this extra land. They did the county tax assessors land value, the house value, and everything else, and then the square footage, and it was, I believe it was about $7 a square foot that they were offering to pay for the additional land, plus all the surveying costs, the new fence, and all the things associated with that.
Well, that isn't on what we were given. That's not what we were given. That's not technically what's being proposed. And I'm hoping and would assume Mrs. Smith or someone representing Mrs. Smith is here.
She would be here, but her mom's in serious health conditions, so she's. I'll note that you guys all remember her, but not me, and I sat next to her.
She gave the presentation.
Yeah.
Do you know the lady?
Are you one of the?
Yes, I'm her husband and the
Oh.
owner. 8420, but yes.
Okay, good. Well, I would, if you would like to speak on this, that would be great.
Sure.
On what you're requesting.
Oh, yeah, it was all laid out in her, that's why she did the talking, not me, but.
Well, just so you know, that wasn't an agendized item. So we're not necessarily gonna go through that, go over that. So really, we should be having those items with our agenda, just so it makes it a little difficult.
Oh, okay, I thought her little handout was with Mike's report.
Yeah.
No.
She handed it to all of us board of directors, and I presume she handed it to staff. It just did not get included in the staff report here.
No, I did not include it in the staff report.
We want to give Mike a directive to
I
incorporate
think
all
we
of
need
the
to get a
documents
directive.
and to
I
work
think
with
so.
them to get the information from them and then come back to us.
I think so.
So, and perform due diligence at the same time to verify the proposed offer.
Yes, staff hours, and then with that they will agree to pay, I think it should be a fair market value for that square footage. I think that should be a staff directive as well.
Can I get a little verification or clarification on that? That you know, assessed valuation is different than appraised value. Which way would you like me to go with that?
I mean,
Well, I
which one
think
is
it should be full market
It should be
value,
full market,
but
yeah.
usually that's
That'd be the
relatively close to the assessed value. It's usually
Yeah, we weren't asking for any kind of bargain, we wanted to pay fair market value for the 20 feet.
So I think let's just get that tightened up
Part of
and we'll look at that again. So then we're not gonna make a motion on this, Mike, so we'll have you come back.
Okay.
Well, I'm just wondering why we don't ask Mr. Smith, I presume?
Yeah.
To give us the document again that we were given at the previous 2 months ago.
I would like to go through everything and take my time with that personally. But if the rest of the board.
Well, the item,
I agree.
the
We
item
don't have-
here is.
we don't have
hours, Randy, we don't have a better.
Yeah.
I wanna
thought
see-
the
I
item
wanna
was
see
to
the whole picture.
authorize Mike to begin the negotiation on it. And bring back to us a deal. Which would include all of his costs, all of their costs, and all the details.
I don't think we've agreed to a deal yet. I think we would like to see the whole picture and see all the different items priced out, cost out.
That's because there is no deal. Mike is asking for the authority here to proceed, well, maybe I'm wrong.
No,
To
he's
proceed-
asking.
No, I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Okay, I can see.
Support that directive?
Yes.
Good. Okay, thank you, Mike.
I will be coming back on this one. Thank you.
Okay.
You're still alive.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, confused. So are you gonna be coming back for another
Yes.
meeting? Yeah.
Yes, and we would like to get that, Mike, next,
Yeah, I need to.
too. We don't want to delay.
Perfect.
Yeah. So-
Yeah, if they could send it to me, that'd be ideal, and I can include it in the next board packet.
Great. Okay, so now on to 10.4, discussion and possible action approval of fire hydrant easement with.
This is a simple one, isn't it?
Let's go for a simple one now.
So we have Sean Ventura, Parks.
Yes, good evening, Board of Directors. Sean Ventura, Park and Facilities Manager. This one should be pretty quick, though I've said that in the past and it's turned out the opposite. I don't have a heck of a lot more information than what's included in my report. As part of the Village and Plaza renovation project, we've had to move several utilities to get them into locations to allow for additional amenities and to allow better access to those utilities. One of the items that was moved was a fire hydrant and a water meter. It was not moved very far, but as a matter of record, it doesn't actually have a public utility easement to access those. The Fair Oaks Water District has requested that we put that public utility easement on paper so that it is accessible to them to maintain and repair whenever anything should arise in the future.
Question, the old easement, will that be abandoned?
There was not an old easement for the hydrant and meter previously, so this will be a new one that allows them to access this site.
And if you are asking about the old easement, the public utility easement, the one in the park will be abandoned on another part of this project, not on this fire hydrant piece. So they're different public utility easements.
Water goes, line goes under the parking lot, that one will be abandoned.
Yeah, exactly. Those will be abandoned, yeah.
Okay. Does anyone from public wish to speak on this item?
I have a couple of related notes from the water district.
Mr.
And it is on an item, one on the same project. Working with your staff, we put together the cost estimate for not the water main project, but for the park project, the large project. And I'm happy to say that we're gonna waive all fees because there was existing services there. We're just gonna offset it and say somewhere down the road, the fees were already paid. So we're gonna just waive those. And then further, we have some staff time, et cetera. And it's nominal, it's a few $1,000s, and this is a huge project. We've been working collaboratively together. I'm gonna just hold that and waive that also if it doesn't start increasing tremendously based on some unforeseen circumstances. And then the last thing, new and hot off the presses, yesterday our bid came in for the water main. We entered into an agreement that we would pay up to $250,000. It came in under that. So again, that's the bid right now. So far, we're doing really good at, there'll be no additional cost.
Thank you, Mr. Gray. Wonderful. Well, then, entertain a motion. Go ahead, your turn, Darren.
I will make a motion that we approve fire hydrant easement with Fair Oaks Water District.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Wonderful. Thank you, everyone. Yes, have it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Can we please then go to 10.5 regarding two resolutions for fund transfer, resolution 05-1822-03 and 05-1822-04.
Yes, thank you. That is my item, and this is a fund transfer for two different funds. The first one is for the bond fund. I'm sorry, the first one is for the general fund. This is to transfer $71,000, which was the cost of the district office renovations, which was approved through the capital projects plan, from the reserves into the unreserved fund balance so that we can pay for that. And then the second one is for the bond fund. This is to pay for the wayfinding sign project that was not budgeted for. And then a few items that fell outside of construction costs, but still need to be paid for. And they're listed here. So notary services, our SUPA signs, the photography of the mural, printing costs, and iCity Works annual fee. And so with the adoption of these two resolutions, we can move that money before the end of the fiscal year.
Any questions for staff?
I just want to clarify that the money that's being moved for the bond projects is just within the various bond, like the accounts.
We're moving it out of the construction account into the operating expenditure.
Okay. Anyone from the public wish to speak on this item in person or online? No? Okay, very good. Then I will entertain a motion.
I will make the motion to adopt resolution number 051-822-03 and resolution number 051-822-04 per the recommendation of the district administrator.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor? Aye. Nice have it. Great. And now we are going to convene Fifth Fair Oaks Recreation Foundation meeting without adjourning the board of directors meeting. So I don't think I have to make a motion.
Yeah.
Oh, I do have to. Okay. Motion to convene.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Wonderful. Okay, great. So foundation business here. We have 11.2.1 election of fiscal year 2022-2023 Fair Oaks Recreation Foundation Board of Directors.
Yeah, this is something that you also do annually. This is when you elect your officers for 2022-2023. Typically follow the order that you have your directors in. So it would be Chair Irwin would become the chair of the foundation, and then so on. You don't have to follow that rule if you don't want to, but that's typically what you do.
Any questions for staff?
No, it's
You get any keys, little bonus. Yeah.
Do we need a motion on that?
Yes.
Okay, I move that we accept the recommended officers for the 2022-23 Foundation Board of Directors.
And I will second that. All those in favor? Aye. Wonderful, thank you. And then we have foundation minutes draft approval. The board meeting from foundation board meeting from November 17th, 2021. Are there any questions regarding the minutes? Okay, very good. Then motion to approve. So moved.
Second.
And seconded by Dr. Carhart. All those in favor? Aye. Ayes have it. Great. And then we have resolution number 05-1822-05.
That would be me, Katie Cox, Recreation Superintendent. I'll make this very quick. Every year, FOIAB operates, FOIAB, which is the Fair Oaks Youth Advisory Board, for those listening at home. They operate out of our general fund, so basically they can use the CAL card and not have to request a check every time, and we've been doing that for over 12 years. And what we do at the, either at the May or the November Foundation Board meeting is a fund transfer for whatever they owe the district. And so this year, they owe the district $2,486.92, and that will be what is reimbursed to the miscellaneous rec revenue account.
Wonderful. Any questions for staff? Great. I will make the motion to approve resolution number 05-1822-05. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Ayes have it.
Thank you.
Thank you. And then we'll receive and file 11.2.4 Foundation account activity. Is there any questions on this from any board member? Oh, okay, wonderful. Then I will make the motion to adjourn the Fair Oaks Recreation Foundation meeting, and return to our Fair Oaks Recreation Park District Board of Directors meeting.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all those in favor? Aye. Wonderful. Then we are back, and we will now go to staff reports, please.
Business board of directors reports first.
Yeah, we can do that first, yeah. I want to hear from the staff first.
Because he knows.
Well, thank you all. I don't have anything. I'll go to Katie and Sean and Jennifer.
All right, well, I'll start with a little bit more of the lighthearted, very quick reminders. June 1st, first progressive dinner in the village. It does sell out, so I wouldn't wait. Trail run, no pressure for some of the board members to run in that trail run. Gonna be a great day. We'll all be there. And then we do have our infamous garage sale on June 11th at Fair Oaks Park, so looking forward to that. But it is with a very sad note that I present to the board. No, I'm not leaving. It's actually sadder than that. Barry Brown, who's a very well-known and respected individual in the community, did pass away this morning. Excuse me, and so I went to a FOCAP meeting and found that out from Janet and Warren McWilliams. So I did just Mike had asked me to speak on behalf of that really quickly and just say that Barry was a member of FAFLA, which is the Fair Oaks Foundation for Leisure and the Arts, for many years. As you'll know, he was honorary mayor, and the dance pad is all because of Barry. He was a member of the Historical Society and also the Succulent Society, which I didn't realize was an actual thing. But just a presence in the community. Around when we talked about the PVID and many other things, he was instrumental in the monuments that are on the triangle right across from Shangri-La. And I could just go on and on about what Barry's done for this community and probably outside of Fair Oaks. And so as a park district, we just wanted to publicly thank Barry and his family for giving him to us for so many years, well before I was here. And it is very sad to know that he's no longer with us, but we appreciate every minute and second he gave Fair Oaks.
Wasn't Barry on the board of directors?
Yeah, if I may, he was our longest serving director, over 25 years here. And it's fitting that you guys are meeting here at the Water District with Ralph. And it brings up, Ralph and Barry were spearheading at one time, along with Bob Walters, the Fair Oaks Community Services District, of merging our districts together. And that was Barry, Ralph, and Bob Walters kind of pushing that at one time. So it's kind of fitting. You guys are here, we're together with that announcement. So.
Thanks, Katie.
And his wife Eleanor, she was on the county Board of Education for many, many years too. Lovely people, both of them.
And if I may say one more thing, he mentions Eleanor. I have one word for her on the record. She's enchanting.
Wonderful. Sean?
Yes, good evening once more, Board of Directors. I have two quick items. I wanted to give you an update on the new irrigation controllers that we received through a regional water authority rebate program. We are getting those installed finally. They've been doing very well for us. We're almost completed. We're seeing gains at Phoenix already. We're identifying problems we didn't even know previously existed. We're seeing increased flow, increased pressure, and finding long lost relics of the old irrigation out there and fixing lots of things. So I'm looking forward to the future out there. In addition, we are going out to bid for landscaping services. Just a quick update on that. We should have bids in by the beginning of July, and we'll be bringing those to you for review and final approval at that point.
Great, thank you.
The irrigation controllers, was that the 17,000 that was shown in the fund report? And that was
yes. Yeah.
Okay. Good deal.
It was a very good deal.
Thanks, Sean.
Mhm.
Anyone else?
Nothing.
Okay. Mike? Oh, you said you had nothing.
No, I have not. I don't have anything. Thank you.
Great.
But- no.
And I'll take the board directors, Director O'Farrell.
I just want to give a shout out to Mike and Sean. Gary probably appreciates this too. We knocked down all the weeds across the street from the brew pub. That came up at one of the comments in the Phobec newsletter. It was, take care of your property, folks.
That was not me, but I didn't say
I'm not letting you.
Director Mouse?
Nothing other than really, when are the fences going up?
Yeah, yeah, sometime really soon. That we had to do another design review based on the hydrant easement that Sean had just talked to you about. The county required us to go back to them for the 0.11 acres of change, even though there's no change. And so we had to pay the fee, and it is now back into design review. The fee has been paid, and they're reviewing that 0.11 acre for design review.
Would we be able to get that past design review and just go straight to the
You would
supervisors?
think, you would think. I heard they photographed the black hole at the center of the universe, and it was this. It was our project.
Yes, it was. Yeah, it's a little frustrating, but you're jumping as fast as you can to try and get all these pieces back together.
Tom?
On the facts, on behalf of the Fair Oaks Water District, if we would have known that, we would have just deferred until the project was over and got the easement later. I'm sorry.
You pushed us.
Not now, yeah.
Okay, Director Manning?
I'd like just maybe a quick update on La Vista, what stage we're at right now. So
Yeah. I haven't heard back from the attorneys yet on this, so there's no new update. I'll bump them this next week and see what's up. This week I was busy with some other issues and was not able to work on La Vista.
How long has it been since we've heard from them?
It's been about, from our attorney, it's been about probably 2 or 3 weeks. I know they had a staffing change because we were talking to the attorney that was replacing our current attorney, Dick Shanahan, who's retiring. His replacement must have got another job or something, because that person's no longer there. And so we're back working with Dick. So I think there's kind of I think Dick was looking forward to retiring, and now he's back in the game. So I'll bump him again.
Is there a potential, I mean, if he's leaving right now, and that's been our counsel, I mean, is there a potential to kind of, bid out counsel that does what Dick does, or another firm potentially?
We could. I mean, that firm's been with us forever, done a marvelous job, and their fees are very reasonable. They're very responsive, but we can always go out to RFP for it.
We've gotten a very good deal.
Yeah, for many, many years, he was our pro bono.
From Shanahan, but if he's retiring, and God bless him, I don't want to just hold him, he wants to, I feel badly, it's very generous that he's doing that, but of course, I want for us to try to figure out a long-term solution, because that's not a long-term solution if he's wanting to retire.
Well, he's still got a full firm of attorneys with him, yeah, so.
Well, and the other thing is that firm, they specialize in local government law, cities, counties, and special districts. It's not a general practice.
Right. Is the fee schedule going to stay the same?
I don't know.
Okay.
We already have a fee schedule for this year, but I don't know if it'll change after this.
Okay.
I made the mistake of reviewing the fund accounts line by line, really carefully thinking how much money goes out for everything. But one thing that I noticed, and I mentioned to Mike and I think Jennifer both, was half of our water bill monthly is Phoenix Park. And I think it's because of the size of the meters that we have there. And I've asked Mike maybe to look at that to see if those meters are oversized for what we do, maybe work with the water district and see. I know A lot of times meters are sized the same as the main lines, but main lines are often sized because they're long distance, and the longer the distance, the more friction loss in the pipe and the less pressure you have at the end. So you don't automatically always have the same size meter, I don't believe, as the main lines. Just wanted to look at that. Over $5,000 a month just for the water at Phoenix Park, and I think a lot of that may have to do with the standard meter size that we have out there. Just an observation.
It is also for most turf, sports field turf with 7 multi-purpose soccer fields and
Yeah.
6
A lot of lawn out there.
baseball fields. And we really only have 1 multi-purpose and 2 softball fields at Fair Oaks. So a lot of wiring going on up there.
Yeah.
for the
Well,
turf.
there's 2 things. There's the water, and then there's the fixed fee for the size of the meter you have. And I just wanted to look at that and see if we have the right meter.
Mike, say you look at it so we can adjourn.
We're looking, Sean and I will look into it. Mostly Sean.
If I may, I would love to.
Oh, yes.
My question. I spoke with Director Carr earlier today. We were talking about, again, the progress with Measure J, what's going on, and obviously how important it is for people to truly know what's going on. And it's phenomenal that we have a lot of things online and digital. But we both really believed that we should have a roost, a special edition roost that people will get in their homes that really details everything that's been going on, the process, the steps, the timelines, and what's been affecting things. Because not everybody does go online, and I think it'll be really great when people, are asking what's happening, we can say, well, check this, check this. So Good idea. I'm really in support of that. So Mike, would love to direct you to work on that. Something that's really important for our community to see.
I'll second.
Yeah, I will meet with Katie and the budget team, and we'll see how we can work that in.
Great.
Now, during COVID, very few people in the community go online to find out what's going on, and it is rather hard to negotiate the online roost. And, I don't know what the mailing list is for that, but I don't think it's all 35,000 citizens.
We only mail to people in our boundaries, so like about 15,000.
On email?
Oh, no, I meant the roost was originally
Right,
mailed out to
right.
about 15,000.
I think he was saying that we don't have 15,000 emails.
No, Lord,
No,
no.
so wouldn't that be nice?
That'd be wonderful.
Great. Okay, well, that's all I have. So,
Motion to adjourn till the next meeting, which will be June 15th at 6 p.m.
move. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Seconded. All those in favor? Aye. Aye. Thank you,
Thanks
everybody.
again to Tom for the room and the
Yes.
water board.
Thank you, Tom.
Have a great night.
Thanks, everybody online.